Hello, hi, welcome back to my course on enhancing soft skills and personality. This is the third week and this is the third unit and lesson number 13. Now, in this unit, I just want to introduce a very new, interesting, practically useful lesson on managing negative emotions, and then we will focus particularly on controlling anger, because managing anger of all the negative emotions is the most important one if you want to really develop a very good personality with the excellent soft skills. In fact, most of the companies, when they want to hire you, they put you in situations either in group discussion or in informal discussion situations where they just deliberately try to provoke you and see how you react to the situation. If you are not able to control your anger in that situation, you will be disqualified. But apart from that, in personal life also, it is very important that you learn how to control your anger. But before we start, let us take a quick highlight of what we did in the last lesson. In the last lesson, I concluded our entire discussion on assertiveness, and particularly I discussed the ways in which one can become assertive and learn to say no. The focus of the last lesson was particularly on how you can say no. So, in order to tell you how you can do that in a very systematic manner, I started with giving you some simple steps, such as I suggested that you should start with the reality checking. That is, you should try to understand, negotiate in the relationships which are around you, in which there is always a kind of power struggle and somebody is trying to gain one up over you, and then you need to see whether you are the person who is all the time giving it up, all the time withdrawing, all the time compromising. If you are occasionally doing that, it is fine, especially with your boss or with your partner, that is okay. But then if you are the one who is treated like a doormat, it is high time you develop your assertive skills before these people. So, that is what I meant by start with the reality checking, and then I went ahead to tell you that changing your attitude is very important, and you should do that by changing your self debilitating thoughts. What are those self debilitating thoughts? Quickly, thoughts that come to your mind and tell you that you can't do this, you can never be a leader, okay? You can never assert yourself, you can never be confident, you are always inferior, you are made up like this. So, thoughts are to be removed in order to assert yourself. You also need to distinguish assertiveness from aggressive behavior. Now, how do you distinguish this? Whenever you try to assert, it always ends in a win-win situation. So, you need to focus on positive consequences if you really want to focus on assertive rather than aggressive behavior. On the way, you need to avoid people who discourage you to become assertive. So, there are people who will rather punish you, they are unhappy with you developing assertiveness. Now, try to shun these people, you do not need these people. But at the same time, try to embrace those people who try to help you to develop assertiveness. There are people who genuinely appreciate your efforts. Now, stick to those people. But at the same time, despite getting encouragement and support, despite reading lot of self-help books, despite listening to my lectures, you may get this small iota of self-doubt. Now, you need to remove that. So, that self-doubt will otherwise kill you. It will keep on giving you negative thinking that no, you cannot become an assertive person. Remove those self-doubts. Then I suggested that you follow the 10 commandments suggested by Stanley and Nancy. What are they? Very quickly. 1. Create quiet time. 2. Risk vulnerability. 3. Open to inner wisdom. Most of the times we do not trust our gut feelings, and that is what is mentioned in 3 and 4. Trust answers from within. Believe them, they are going to tell you the right answers. What you should do rightly, correctly, morally, ethically, are the ones which are coming from inner wisdom. Listen to them, pay attention to them. And 5, learn to laugh at Miss Protecto. That is, don't be yielding yourself too much to the tendency of becoming Miss or Mr. Perfectionist. So, avoid that tendency. Let go of emotional addictions is the 6th commandment. That is, sometimes you are so emotionally dependent on people, on situations, that you actually let people use you as a kind of doormat. So, let go of emotional addictions. 7, look for and develop self approval. So, do not look for approval from others. By doing that, you are trying to give power to others who have a say on your personality and personality development. And 8th one, live without negative self labels. So, any label that you attach on you, oh, I am basically a weak person, I am basically a passive kind of person. Now, remove this kind of self labels. 9, focus on being, not doing and having, that is, live at the present Zen moment. And 10, be responsible for creating choices. So, you be responsible for the choices that you will create. Do not put any blame if some of your choices will go wrong. There are other rules which we discussed, such as do not seek approvals, reverse sorry and then use thanks. Try to say thanks for waiting instead of apologizing profusely for making your appointment very late. Accept genuine praise and criticism, and then slowly we try to understand how you can say no. We started with 4 ways to say no from Stanley and Nancy. First one, see whether the request by the other person is reasonable, just trying to assess whether the request for you to do something is reasonable enough so that you can say yes. Now, if you are not sure of it, so then you ask for more information. Now, even after asking for information and then you feel somewhat nervous, somewhat jittery in trying to say yes, it very well would mean that the request is not reasonable, at least it does not suit you. So, then say no in a plain direct manner and say no without saying sorry. That is the 4th rule. So, say no without saying sorry, without giving any excuses, without telling roundabout tales before you could say sorry. So, do not do that. There are some other simple ways if you are not able to say this no directly, such as you can offer compensation, but still stay assertive. You can meet the people halfway, that is, it appears that you are actually going to do what they want, such as going with them to the restaurant, but you will not have the food, okay, and you will insist on being assertive. Saying no to intrusions is a very important tactful art, like I quoted from Randy Pausch, who suggests that you may just stand up and talk to them, you may not offer chair. In certain cases, you may even go out, indicating that your time is precious and then you want them to go out, and then after some time you can come back also. If required, again Randy Pausch says that you can also tell a white lie, such as you are busy in a meeting, that you are rushing to your class, etc. Last but not the least, I suggested that when you say no, practice saying that in a very calm, collected manner, and if possible with a pleasant smile. That will be the ultimate assertiveness statement that you can make to the other person, saying that you are not at any stage uncomfortable for saying that no, and the way you say it will actually make the other person receive it in a very positive manner. Having said this, let us look at the negative emotions and then let us learn how we can control anger in particular. Now, before we look at emotions and the negative ones, what about emotion as such? What does it mean? Interestingly, the word as such is derived from the French word émouvoir, which means to stir up. So, just to kindle, stirring up, and it was synonymous with passion, strong feelings. So, how do we link that with positive or negative emotions? So, you can be overjoyed, but you can also be very depressed. In both cases, so emotions are getting stirred up. In terms of negative emotions, feelings that make you sad, painful, uncomfortable and inferior, such as grief, deep sorrow, hate, jealousy and anger. Now, these are all emotions which can actually make you feel sad, and then they stir up such kind of uncomfortable emotions in us. So, that is the reason why we call them as negative emotions. Now, am I telling you that you should not have such negative emotions at all? No, it is not humanly possible not to have any emotions, because as you know that emotions are the only aspects which rather would distinguish humans from animals. So, it is not possible for you not to have emotions at all, because we are not machines. So, when we look at a robot and when we look at a human being, we know that robot cannot feel either negatively or positively, but human beings can feel. So, when you feel, whether it is negative or positive, it is important you feel and then express that in a very appropriate manner. So, even if they are negative emotions, if you can express that in appropriate situations, in right proportion, they are acceptable as natural human emotions which you are trying to evoke in a spontaneous manner. But excessive negative emotions would make one hate oneself and others. It will isolate us if you are charged with excessive emotions, particularly anger or grief. Okay. And either the society excommunicates those people who keep on showing anger on others, or the person himself or herself will feel isolated from the rest of the society. So, other than showing it appropriately, which is very difficult without practice, it is rather easy to control negative emotions. What do I mean by negative emotions? On the whole, I was just looking at the internet and then Google was showing me about hundreds and more of negative emotions. But I would like to tell you such intense ones as depression, doubt, despair, shame, embarrassment, sadness, fear, frustration, guilt, hatred, grief, jealousy are the ones I would rather consider them as the real problematic negative emotions. Now, again, as I was trying to tell you that emotions are important to show that we are human beings, and as the famous poet Rilke points out, quote unquote from the poet, all emotions are pure, which gather you and lift you up. That emotion is impure, which seizes only one side of your being and so distorts you. So, according to the poet, actually all emotions are pure. When it is emanating, it is indicating that it is a very genuine, spontaneous human feeling, but they are pure only when they lift you up, they elevate you. But those emotions are impure, which would capture you only one side of you being and so distorts you. So, all of us have the beast within us as well as the God within us. We have our own limitations, we have our own merits. But then our own merits, our own good qualities are the ones which are elevated in terms of our positive emotions. But the limitations, the bad qualities are the ones which are the distorted form of ourselves, especially when we try to project that negative emotions. Anger particularly, jealousy, hate, etc. give a distorted perception of reality. We are not what we are when we try to show the negative emotions. That is what is meant by that. What is projected of us is a very distorted form of us. At the spur of the moment, at that tipping point, it dilutes one into the belief that one's emotion is right and justified. Like in case of Othello, that Desdemona is disloyal, unfaithful, and she has cheated. At that point of sexual jealousy, in that fit of anger, he strangulates and kills her. But then he regrets throughout his life the moment he realizes that it was in that fitful madness that he killed her. In fact, many psychologists associate anger as a kind of madness. The word rage, the extreme form of anger, indicates that. But when I talk about anger, I actually imply the mild irritation to the extreme outburst that is shown as rage or wrath, which also includes little bit of hate, little bit of jealousy, and all these negative things included. So, when I try to say controlling anger, I am also trying to use that as a kind of umbrella term to indicate all of the closely associated negative emotions. Let us look at an interesting quote from Bhagavad Gita and how it shows that anger can actually kill a person. There are two versions, let us look at both versions from the second chapter, 63rd verse. From anger, delusion occurs. From delusion, bewilderment of memory. After forgetfulness of memory, the loss of spiritual intelligence, and losing spiritual intelligence, one perishes. There is another translation that goes like this: from anger comes delusion, from delusion the loss of memory, the loss of memory causes destruction of discrimination, and from the destruction of discrimination he perishes. Now, what is interesting is one author uses the term spiritual intelligence, the other one uses the term discrimination. Now, discrimination is your ability to see what is right or what is wrong, especially your ability to identify what is evil, what is bad, what should be extremely avoided. So, that sense of discrimination, the other translator calls that as spiritual intelligence. In fact, it is a very heightened form of emotional intelligence, where you are able to see right correctly and wrong correctly. What causes misery to a person? When a person is not able to identify what is right, or not able to see who is the person who is going to help and who is the person who is going to harm. In the sense, one is not able to identify who is one's real friend and who is one's hidden enemy, and conversely believes distress the one instead of the other and causes misery for oneself. Look at my very favorite quote from Aristotle, which I quoted in the previous course also, quote unquote from Aristotle on anger. He says, anyone can become angry, that is easy. Okay. So, it is not difficult to show anger, anybody can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. To be angry with the right person, so you need sense of discrimination, you need to use your emotional and spiritual intelligence, whether that person is the right one. We all might have read the small story during our school days, where the mother grows a lot of plants in the garden, and then snakes keep coming. So, to protect the child who is left, and the mother goes to the field for working, so she keeps the mongoose. So, the mongoose stays there very loyally, But one day when the mother comes back from the field after her work, she sees the mongoose full of blood on its mouth. Now immediately she gets furious and then realizes that the mongoose should have killed her child and very disloyally has indulged in that kind of act, and in that spur of the moment she uses the sickle and then cuts the head of the mongoose, until she goes inside and sees that the child is playing safely and there is a dead snake on the side of the child. It takes just one more minute to have the actual realization that it is not the mongoose, but the snake that was killed by the mongoose. So, that came to bite the child, and that spur of the moment she made the mistake. So, that is showing anger now on the wrong person. Okay. It should have been shown on the snake, not on the mongoose, and to the right degree at the right time for the right purpose in the right way. So, that is not within everybody's power. So, think about that, and that is not easy, but still let us ask the next question: can we really control anger? I said at the outset that emotion means to stir up. Now, anger is a stirred up emotion by others. It is a trigger given to you by your boss, by your spouse, by your children, neighbor, friend, enemy, stranger, any external source or any kind of trigger that comes from outside. But psychologically as well as practically, we cannot fully control outside triggers, but we can maximize our inner control. We can minimize the damage and unintended consequences. We can only control our response to the trigger of anger. Let us see how we can do that and really try to control our anger. The first and foremost lesson, message, suggestion that is given to you in terms of controlling anger is, the moment you know that the negative emotion is charging you, postpone your reaction for minimum 10 minutes. If you are likely to be short tempered, do not throw anything that is just near to you, maybe a paperweight, but throwing it on the person, and then in case the person on the wrong part of the body and the person dies immediately, so you will be sent to prison and you will regret for your life throughout. So, postpone your reaction for minimum 10 minutes. If you really get angry, just do not show the reaction, try to keep your cool for 10 minutes. And if you are on the wrong side, after 10 minutes you will actually cool off. You will realize that there will not be any need to express your anger. For those who are short tempered and likely to throw literally things on others, it is suggested that you should put your hands inside your pocket to keep them folded on the back or even clasped in the front, so that the hands are tied by you mentally, physically, emotionally, at least till you count 100. There are others who say at least you count 10, because in my practical experience I have seen people count 10 very fast and say that, oh, now I can throw this paperweight on the other person, and even if he gets killed, I do not mind at that moment. So, try to count at least 100 so that you give ample time to give a chance for your anger to cool off. But when you are doing this, in your mind try to weigh the pros and cons, particularly focus on the consequences. Now, you think you will shout at this person, you will slap the person, you will throw something that is available there, a flower vase or something, on the person. Now, what will be the consequences? What will happen after this? Look at the irreversible damage your anger can cause. A relationship that has been built for 30 years can be broken at that single moment in which you express your anger. a person who trusted you like anything can lose trust, and it will be never possible for you to rebuild that trust that easily again. So, a person who happened to be so loyal with you loses that loyalty because of the way you expressed anger, and so on. So, all these are under the suggestion that I give under the irreversible damage your anger can cause. You cannot reverse your action again. So, focus on the consequences, focus on what will happen if you express it. And as it has been mentioned by the previous quotations we discussed, remember, anger colors your thinking, it distorts your mind, it is completely blocking your sense of discrimination, and hence your judgment can be completely wrong. So, do not judge the opposite person, do not judge the situation when you are angry. As Albert Einstein points out very nicely, anger dwells only in the bosom of fools. So, only in the heart of foolish people, Einstein says, anger will be staying. Understand that you could be really foolish in expressing that anger and try to avoid that. What are other techniques that you can follow in order to control your anger? You can take deep breath as much as possible. So, that will actually relax your nerves, and then try to smile. In fact, psychologists suggest in some cases where people get short tempered, laughter therapy as a counter. So, whenever you get anger, you laugh loud. Even if people think that you are actually looking funny, that does not matter, but it would reduce the tension of your face, your inner feelings, and it will reduce the intensity of the anger you are likely to express. The other interesting way to control anger is to practice Abraham Lincoln's method of postponing anger and completely negating it. What was he doing? Whenever he got angry with somebody, he would go to his privy chamber and then sit alone and then start using all forms of abuse, all forms of harsh words, hurtful language. So, he will write all the things against the person on a paper. He will write as much as possible, and then he will put it in a cover. He would give it some cooling off time, that is, he may come after 3 hours, 5 hours, or after a day, after a week. He would just come to take that and tear it off and throw it in dustbin. So, he knows very well that that anger that was written and expressed at that moment holds no good after some time lapse is given. So, he was very shrewd and wise. So, never ever people felt that he had expressed his anger, but all the time he had expressed alone to the invisible person sitting before you, before him, and then he just expressed and then threw it after some time. Now, the other techniques which are suggested for controlling your anger, one interesting technique of the other ones is that you can exert yourself physically, that is, you can drain yourself physically, and that will give a kind of emotional drain also, such as punching bags, for example. Like a boxer, you can keep on punching. You can jog rather than usual. You can run and sweat. You can play rigorously, for example, squash or tennis or any games that you play with the ball. So, you can just express that using that ball. You can hit hard, you can in squash you can hit hard on the wall. So, it tries to vent your anger. However, try to express anger if required in a very right, appropriate and assertive manner. That is, as suggested by Aristotle, do not show aggressive behavior, but express that in a very cool and rightful manner, in a very smiling manner. Just state to the other person that this is what you did, and at that moment I was really angry. later when I thought why I was angry, I realized that this behavior of yours was triggering that. Could you please change that behavior? Okay. Could you please avoid doing that in this manner? So, that will actually take you to a win-win situation. Avoid aggression, use assertiveness, express things plainly so that you can manage anger, and give chance for the person who triggered your anger to correct herself or himself also. Another interesting technique and a very effective one is practice remarkable, respectful and noticeable silence. Now, do not talk to the person who caused you anger and see how much you can maintain this silence. That becomes a very powerful weapon. The person realizes, and if the relationship is genuine, your silence will kill the other person and the other one would be on bended knees requesting you to speak again normally, and that is the time you can express your anger in a very polite manner and tell why you actually stopped talking and why you decided to express your anger through silence, because how you value the relationship, and if you had used some aggressive one, the relationship would have broken, and give chance again to the other person to mend herself or himself. Watch your anger pattern is another important thing, because you need to know as a leader, as a mentor, what are the factors, aspects that are triggering your anger and how often this anger is coming to you. Study the pattern, and then once you know the pattern, you can break it. A good leader seldom makes mountain out of molehill or becomes short tempered frequently. That is, neither try to look at a very trivial thing and get angry, or do not get short tempered and get provoked as easily as just like a very emotionally weak person. There may be occasions where you are at the receiving end and then the other person at the other end is trying to be very aggressive and show anger, and you feel humiliated. In humiliating situations, be patient, show patience and believe that your time will come, and actually your time will definitely come, and when your time comes, you should not show anger again, rather you should be generous and teach others who triggered or showed their anger by not giving them a tit for tat. And that is the only way you can actually reduce your anger as well as their angry behavior towards you. Now, in worst situations where anger is about to come, burst out, what can you do? How can you control the damage? The first thing is change your environment. So, do not be in the surroundings where you are getting angry. Just go to a park, take a quick walk, go to a theatre, watch a movie or your favorite comic show, listen to music, go to a musical concert, or just go home, sit and then watch your favorite TV show. Now, changing the environment and changing your mind and not focusing on something and diverting your mind for some time will actually minimize the damage that might be caused. There are other things that people generally do to reduce their stress that will also come out of impotent anger, such as taking bath in cold water or hot water depending upon the weather conditions, eating good food and sleeping nicely. Sometimes if you miss your night sleep, or sometimes if you get frequent interruptions in your sleep, and if the sleep is incomplete, then you become irritable and you get angry very quickly. Meditate. So, calmly just sit, close your eyes and focus on your just breathing. So, that will also reduce your anger. Go to a place of worship, whichever God you are fond of, go there and share your emotional burden with God, shed the load, or meet a spiritual leader, or simply a mentor, or just a senior person, or just a close friend with whom you can say that you are angry, but you just carried it and then you just shared it with a friend, so that you did not express that and cause some damage. But in worst situation, if you have caused some damage, then take full responsibility for the consequences of your anger. Own your guilt, own your shame. Don't blame others or the environment. Interestingly, if you read Albert Camus' The Outsider or The Stranger, the protagonist of the novel gives a very funny argument for the reason he killed one of the Arabs in the novel. He says that the sun was responsible. The sun was giving a very sultry weather and it caused him a lot of irritation and it made him actually shoot and kill the other person. So, do not blame the environment for your own inability to control your anger. In uncontrollable situations, offer quick apology. You go and give apology, say sorry and show that you are genuinely concerned in giving it, genuinely concerned in maintaining the relationship. But in case others are angry with you, you seek forgiveness. As said by Mahatma Gandhi, this is not indicating weakness, that you go and ask for forgiveness, you go and apologize. It is not a matter of weakness, but it is rather indicating your strength. As he says, the weak can never forgive, forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Channelize your anger positively, that is the final suggestion I would give you, by focusing on creative endeavors. Sometimes people are angry with others, sometimes they are angry with the society. Great writers, when they are angry, like George Orwell for example, he was very angry and upset with the totalitarian setup that was around him. He created his masterpieces, 1984. He created Animal Farm, a very sarcastic take on the totalitarian society, the Communist Party that was prevailing at the time. So, use creativity, express your anger in a very channelized positive manner and create your masterpiece. Many of the paintings were actually expressing the important anger that has been piled up and not shown directly. Maybe because of the oppressive situation or maybe because of the intimidating nature of the opponent, or maybe simply because these writers, these poets, these painters decided that they will use creativity and then channelize that negative energy in a positive manner. So, that is the ultimate take on anger, the way you can manage anger. So, let us say somebody humiliates you by saying that, oh, your English is so bad, you cannot give a good talk. No, do not show anger immediately, but then try to prove them wrong by showing that you can develop fluency through hard work, you can give a very masterful presentation by lot of practice and make the same person acknowledge your work. And even if they do not acknowledge, that does not matter. It is important that you channelize it in the right direction and develop and enhance your own personality. And when you do that, what are the benefits of controlling anger? You live a healthy, happy and peaceful life. You become a stable and dependable leader. People gravitate towards you for your emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence and high emotional quotient, and people can bank on you because you become a resourceful person. People around you enjoy working or simply being with you, they like your company. You become confident and positive in your outlook, your energy gets channeled in the right direction and your productivity improves and the productivity around you goes leaps and bounds. Success is given to you by other people. This is something that I have been telling from the beginning of this course and the previous course, and you will have more people, more willing followers to beget more success on you. You will earn good name and fame, awards and rewards will chase you, and more than that, you will inspire others and make people operate at a high level of emotional and or spiritual intelligence. Now, before I conclude, some quick thoughts on anger from very famous quotable quotes from eminent people. First one from Joel Austin, quote unquote, "Every day we have plenty of opportunities to get angry, stressed or offended, but what you are doing when you indulge these negative emotions is giving something outside yourself power over your happiness. You can choose to not let things upset you. The next one is from Emerson. He says, for every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. So, you choose whether you want to be angry or you want to be peaceful. And the next one from Lawrence J. Peter, it goes like this: speak when you are angry and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. This means keep quiet when you are angry. Do not utter a single word. Every word will go as a very caustic one from you, and you will regret each and every word that you spoke at the moment when you are angry. And the last one from Josh Billings, quote unquote, silence is one of the hardest arguments to refute. As I said, silence can be used as a very powerful weapon for negotiating instead of expressing anger in an aggressive manner. For further reading, you can go back to Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. There are frequent references as how you can control anger, hate, depression, etc. And Stephen Manalak's one chapter from the book Soft Skills for a Flat World completely focuses on the dangers of anger and benefits of patience. Thank you for your patience, and I hope this video particularly will be a milestone in your personality development, so that after watching this you learn how to manage your anger and become a very pleasant and pleasing personality in an overall sense. Wish you all success. Thanks again.